we start here. A Texas man staying in jail after being convicted and sentenced this afternoon for stalking Indiana Fever star Caitlin Clark.
So Rich and I was actually in the courtroom this afternoon, and it was a contentious court hearing. Rich is here to share what happened.
It was a little bit bizarre, actually, to be in the courtroom this afternoon. Somewhat entertaining as well, I have to admit. Michael Lewis admits he tagged Caitlin Clark in 800 messages on the social media X. Law enforcement got involved when he drove to Indy from Texas in January and started hanging out around places where he might see Caitlin Clark. Lewis took a plea deal this afternoon for stalking and harassment. Those messages sent to Clark were described as lewd, obscene, and threatening. Police visited Lewis at his downtown hotel room back in January and warned Lewis to stop threatening Clark on X. But the messages continued. Lewis was interrupted by the judge multiple times during his statement in court this afternoon.
I've never threatened her. I've never even thought about threatening her. I've never even thought about thinking about threatening her. I will never threaten her. I'm not a threat to her or any other player in the NBA whatsoever.
He may continue to talk, but he is going to talk himself right out of a plea if he continues down this road. I am not going to accept a plea of guilty for somebody who says they are not guilty.
Judge Angela Dow Davis did sentence Lewis to 2.5 years in the Department of Correction under the terms of the plea deal. He'll likely stay right there at the Marion County Adult Detention Center, and that's where he has been since he was arrested back in January. Lewis was living out of his vehicle when he came to Indiana. The Indiana Fever offered no comment on this plea deal today, but the prosecution says that Caitlin Clark was aware of the terms and was in agreement with the plea deal.
Yeah, bizarre is a good way to describe it. We were listening in on the hearing from the newsroom today, and Lewis seemed to blame Clark's social media for not stopping him. Can you explain that?
Well, he says that they had so many opportunities, 800 messages in fact, where they could have blocked him on X at any time, and then he would have gone home, and it would have ended at that point. The judge told him that he needed mental health treatment, and as we heard at the top of our newscast, she said, "You don't get it."
Okay, there we go. All right, Rich and I, thank you for reporting this afternoon.
Now to some of the other headlines now. Just hours ago, we learned new details in that mass shooting over the weekend that injured 5 people.
And it happened yesterday afternoon on Hornicle Drive near East 38th Street. Police tell us all of the victims are young people ranging from 19 to just 10 years old. Neighbors say the area is typically quiet. No word yet, though, on what prompted the shooting. And this makes 38 juveniles so far this year who have survived being shot here in Indianapolis.
Yeah, that's more than 5 children every month. So our Ella Rhodes has been compiling those numbers from Metro Police today. What else did police share with you, Ella?
Yeah, so they are waiting still to add up all the numbers on the deadly shootings involving children, but they are getting those to us. So we will have those for you guys as soon as possible. And I actually spoke with an 18-year-old who's a part of Young Men's Inc., who's trying to help other kids his own age when it comes to gun violence. And Messiah Belton is a leader in Young Men Inc., and it's a local group on a mission to empower young Black men and others at risk. Messiah says gun violence involving kids so young is so hard to see, but it's an issue we've been seeing all summer long. And IMPD just recently seized a handgun and ammunition from a juvenile on probation, on top of the shooting you all mentioned earlier from over the weekend involving teens. Messiah says Young Men Inc. helped him from a young age see a different perspective to life when it comes to violence. He says people his age need to find discipline and self-respect and not pick up a gun when they have a problem.
Up to us to guide younger kids because they model what they see. And if you have, 17 higher, it can even be 15 and higher. When you have those older kids that you see, they model that behavior. So I feel like it kind of is up to us and of course the parents.
And with some schools already back in session or about to be, I reached out to a few school districts like IPS, Warren Township and Lawrence Township schools on how they plan to address gun violence with their students, but they didn't get back to me.
So what are the other solutions that Messiah mentioned?
Yeah, he really recommended finding a hobby or something you're passionate about, and also sports. It creates that discipline for students and young kids, and they can carry those life lessons along with them.
A way to get engaged.
Yeah, a wise young man there. Are we going to hear more from him?
Exactly. We are going to hear more from him. I even told him for his age, he is very, very wise. And you'll hear why he wanted to get so involved in helping other people his age.
All right. And we've heard police say that overall violent crime is down in Indianapolis, but they've also expressed such frustration about young people specifically
Yeah.
involving gun violence.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll hear from you again later tonight.
Thanks, guys.
And right now the search continues.
For a suspect in a police shooting up in Marion, that's in Grant County.
And it happened in the middle of a neighborhood Sunday morning. Several homes hit by stray bullets.
Our Samantha Johnson spent the day in Marion. Here's the latest on the investigation.
Marion police turned the investigation over to Indiana State Police, who are now investigating what happened here Sunday morning. I talked to residents who live in that neighborhood. They tell me they woke up to what sounded like a shootout right outside their home.
I mean, a couple inches to the right, you can hit my window, you can hit to the living room, and you can hit God knows what inside the house.
Adam Baird tells me he was home when police say they saw a passenger in a white SUV shooting at a pedestrian near this intersection. An officer fired at the passenger, according to police, and that's when they say the suspect took off.
It's still nerve-wracking to have to deal with that, like, so close to home, you know.
State police say no one was hit by the bullets, but they say several homes were, including this one, where a woman says a bullet went right through her kitchen window and into a cabinet. She says her husband had been doing dishes right there just 30 minutes earlier.
So that is very frightening, but we're grateful that it didn't turn out that way.
As the investigation continues, state police say the Marion police officer who fired the weapon is now on administrative duty, which is standard protocol. In Grant County, Samantha Johnson, 13 News.
All right, and our weather impact alert days continue as we head into this Monday, a hot day as we saw, and it seemed like the cloud coverage cooled it off, but then
it helped.
It helped.
Comes right back out.
Did you see what it said on the bottom of the screen there?
No, what did it say?
Relief is coming. Relief.
Look, he doesn't sound optimistic though. What happened?
Because I don't want to bury the lead that, look, it's hot today and tomorrow. I think that's really the true story, but everyone wants to talk about the change that's on the way, even me.
Yeah, early at noon today, Rob said, I'm so sick of saying that it's hot and humid.
And I am. Even someone who loves the heat and humidity, I'm kind of over it, I'll be honest. Look at the temperatures though currently. Even after those clouds that Felicia was talking about stayed with us early part of the day, we warmed back up to 87, and those locations that were able to get a jump start on that, they're up into the 90s. So it really depends on where you are today, just how warm your temperatures have gotten. And 87, by the way, is the high so far that we've seen. 97 is what it feels like though, but those locations that have gotten into the 90s feels like it's into the triple digits at the very least. The humidity is certainly making it feel so much warmer. We're probably going to see those temperatures maybe add another degree or so as we get through the next hour or so before we finally start to cool back down. The clouds that were with us earlier did keep our temperatures from getting as warm as they possibly could have. But again, for those locations that got the sunshine, it was just an oven out there, really like a sauna. Heat advisory is in place, and this is not going to be in place just for today. This goes all the way through tomorrow evening. I think once we get through tomorrow evening, we'll be through the hottest part of the forecast, and then we do have some changes that are on the way. So the rest of the day, temperatures will cool down through the 80s. You know the drill. It's just going to be like the last several evenings. I do think the rain chances are on the lower side this evening compared to where they have been maybe over the past few evenings where we've had a few of those pop-ups. Muggy and warm for tonight. We'll do mid-70s just like we've done over the past few evenings. And then tomorrow, 94. If we get to 94 tomorrow, it will make it the hottest day so far of the year. And the heat index is expected to go back to 100. But look, this is the warmest day of the week. It's all downhill from there. Coming up, I'm going to talk about what to expect with the cool down, the relief that is on the way. I promise it's going to be here by the end of the week.